Okay, welcome back to our design and modeling of a building. So we say that our next step is we're going to assign the general properties of these beams and columns. So what we do is that we're going to press on geometry, and then we're going to press on property. Obviously, these property specs, let's press here first. Let's save. When you press, we're going to define properties. So we're going to use rectangular beams and columns. Now, the dimensions of these beams and columns are as follows. As we can see, they're here. So the beam is 300 by 230 millimeters. The column is 300 by 300 millimeters. And then we're not going to model slabs. We're going to model them as floor loads. Since let's just talk about one thing. In Staad Pro, it is very hard for us to model slabs. It will take a lot of time and analysis will be complicated because Staad Pro uses the finite element method to mesh the slabs. And then that also meshes the beams too and the columns attached to the slabs. That is why most civil engineers in practical, when using Staad Pro, they don't model slabs. They model slabs in form of floor slabs. So what we're going to do is that we're going to model floor loads in form of slabs. So as we can see, the dimensions are here. Beam is 300 meter depth, 230 millimeter width. Column is 300 by 300. Then outer wall thickness is 230 millimeters. Inner wall thickness 120 millimeters. The height we already know. So now, let's go. The depth of the beam was 300 millimeters. And the width, as you can see, YD is depth. Then width ZD with 230 millimeters. So we'll add concrete. We're modeling an RCC building, so it's concrete. We add. As you can see, when you press add, it will show here. And then another one, the column is 300 by 300, so it will be 300 by 300 millimeters. We're going to add. When you add this, we're going to close. Now, so how do we've just defined these section properties. How are we going to assign them to our building? Because as we can see in the 3D isometric building, it looks like this. But once we assign these properties, the way of looking is going to change. The way these beams and columns look, or the way this design structure is going to look, will change. So let us assign these properties to the beams and columns. So we select here, we're going to select for beams. We're going to go here, select, and then we're going to say beam is parallel to. As we can see here, all these beams are all parallel to X in this direction or Z in this direction. And columns are parallel to the Y direction. So when you press here, we're going to go to select, beam is parallel to X. As we can see, all the beams parallel to X direction have been selected. And beam is parallel to the to the Z direction have been selected too. After we've done this, we're going to check here, assign to select beams, yes, and then you're going to assign, yes. So we've assigned beam properties. Let us now assign the column properties. So we're going to select here, select, beam is parallel to Y axis. As you can see, all the beams in our property, in our design building, have been selected. We're going to assign. So we've assigned all the material properties and the geometric properties of the building. Let us now check how our 3D render looks. So when you come here, as we can see, this has changed. So now all our beams are now visible and our columns are now visible. and we can see how our building will look like. After we've done this, we are going to now assign loads to this building. How are we going to assign loads? Let us go to General, and then we're going to Loads and Definition. The first load that we are going to assign are seismic loads. Let's save. So seismic loads, we're going to go to Definitions, Seismic Definitions, and we're going to add. When we add, we're going to choose our code. Since we're in India, we're going to use the Indian IS code 1893 to 2002 2005. Although the updated one is the 2016 version, but this will also do. After we do this, we're going to include accidental loads. Let's select it, and we're going to generate. Since if you're not familiar with the IS code of 2002 or 2016, it's best we generate our codes. So as you can see, this pop-up window has come up. We're going to choose a city. I'll choose our city. We're currently in Rourkela. I believe Rourkela is in zone 1, if I'm not mistaken. Let us see. Rourkela, this one. So our zone is 0.1. So and then we are going to generate. We're going to generate to be like this. Now here for the damping ratio, we are going to use 0.05, and then we are going to add self-weight. We need to add. If we don't add the self-weight to the seismic zone or seismic load, we're going to get an error. So we need to add these two, and then we close. After adding the seismic loads, and it must be noted, this is very important, it must be noted that the seismic loads should always be added first if we are using Staad Pro to design or to model a building. If we add dead loads and live loads first, then there will be an error at the end of the analysis. So we need to make sure that seismic loads are defined first. So after we define the seismic loads, and now we're going to add the dead loads and live loads. So let's add dead loads and live loads. So here, dead load, we're going to define the loads. So we're going to name them dead load, you add, and then live load, we add, and then we close. After we've done this, let us now try to define these dead loads. So as we can see, we have got, let us go to this, we have got these dimensions, the outer wall thickness, the inner wall thickness. So we've said we need to calculate these, we need to calculate the wall loads going to the beams and columns using these types of dimensions. So here, in the next video, we're going to see how we're going to calculate this, and we're going to add them to the dead loads. Thank you.